All right, today we are diving into a thought experiment that is so completely mind-bending, it basically threatens to pull the entire rug out from under reality itself. We're talking about the Boltzmann brain.
So let me just ask you something, and I want you to really truly think about it. Is your past real? I mean, your memory of what you had for breakfast, your childhood, the entire history of the world. Is it all real? Or could it just be a total fabrication, an illusion that was planted in your mind, like a second ago? Now look, this isn't just some philosophical game. This idea comes straight from a thought experiment in physics called the Boltzmann brain, and what it suggests is pretty terrifying, that a single, lonely, conscious brain is actually way more likely to exist by chance than the entire vast, orderly universe we all think we're living in. To really wrap our heads around this, you have to ask a simple question about probability. If you were just waiting around for something to pop into existence out of pure random chaos, what's the more likely thing to appear? Okay, so on one hand, you've got our universe. It's this hugely complex thing, right? It started with the Big Bang, it's got a real 13.8 billion year history, and it's filled with billions of observers just like you and me. But on the other hand, you have a single brain, a conscious mind that just randomly flickered into existence, complete with a lifetime of totally false memories that make it believe it grew up in that big, complex universe. And here's the kicker, the paradox. According to the laws of physics, that second option, the lonely brain, is astronomically more probable. So why on earth would a lone brain be more likely? I mean, that sounds insane, right? Well, the answer is actually buried in one of the most fundamental rules of the entire cosmos. It's a little thing called entropy. To put it simply, entropy is just a measure of disorder, or randomness. And the second law of thermodynamics is basically nature's #1 rule. Systems always move from order towards disorder, from tidy to messy. It is a one-way street, and everything is on it. Think about it in everyday life, right? It takes effort to build a sandcastle, but it's super easy to knock it down into a messy pile of sand. You'll never see a random pile of sand spontaneously build itself into a castle. You can scramble an egg in seconds, but good luck trying to unscramble it. Nature just loves chaos. Order is fragile, but chaos is the default setting. So it all boils down to this one simple statistical fact. Disorder is always more probable than order. I mean, there are just way more ways for things to be jumbled and random than for them to be perfectly structured. Okay, so now let's take that fundamental rule of chaos and apply it to the biggest thing we know, the universe. And you'll start to see how this absolutely wild case for the Boltzmann brain gets built. I mean, just stop and think about it for a second. We have galaxies, stars, planets, life, all of it operating according to these incredibly precise physical laws. This is a state of mind-bogglingly low entropy. It is a highly organized arrangement, which statistically makes it very improbable. Now let's look at the alternative. For single conscious brain to just flicker into existence, yeah, that requires a random fluctuation. It's a dip in entropy, for sure, but it's a much smaller dip than creating an entire universe. It's a smaller, simpler, and frankly, a less orderly miracle. And the statistical difference here? It's just staggering. It's not even close. If you're a betting person and you're betting on a random fluctuation from chaos creating a conscious observer, you should always bet on the smallest, most minimal fluctuation possible. And that's not the universe. It's the brain. Okay, so if we follow this logic all the way to its conclusion, we end up in some seriously unsettling, genuinely terrifying, philosophical territory. What does it actually mean if you are a Boltzmann brain? Well, it means that your body isn't real. Your friends, your family, your home, it's all an illusion. Your entire life story, every memory you cherish, is completely false, just a data file that fluctuated into existence a moment ago. It means you are utterly and completely alone in the universe, a temporary spark of awareness that is probably going to dissolve right back into chaos in the very next instant. This is the existential horror at the core of this paradox. If it's true, then everything we use to understand the world, science, our own observations, our experiences, it all becomes untrustworthy. Why? Because it's statistically more likely that it's all just a fiction your brain made up than it is to be real. But here's the amazing twist. Physicists don't look at this terrifying idea and just give up on science. No, they've actually turned it around and made it into an incredible tool to save science. So let's be absolutely clear. Cosmologists do not actually believe that we are all disembodied brains floating in a void. Instead, they've realized something brilliant. They've realized that if their big theory about the universe predicts that Boltzmann brains should be common, then their theory has to be wrong. The process they use is actually pretty simple and logical when you break it down. You come up with a new model for how the cosmos works, then you run the numbers. Does your model predict a universe where observers like us, who evolve over billions of years, are the normal state of affairs? Or does it predict a universe that's just swarming with these lonely random brains? If your theory predicts the brains are more common, you toss it in the bin and you start over. And that's really the crucial point here. Any theory of the universe that's even worth considering can't make our existence some kind of statistical miracle. A good theory must predict that observers like us are common, that we're a natural outcome of the cosmos, not some bizarre, rare accident. So, after that wild journey from the laws of heat and disorder all the way to the nature of reality itself, what are the big ideas you should walk away with? Okay, first, our tidy, organized, low-entropy universe is a genuine cosmic mystery. Based on the odds, it really shouldn't exist. Second, the Boltzmann brain is the mind-bending but logical conclusion of that mystery. It's a thought experiment that just shows a small fluke is always more likely than a giant one. And finally, and maybe most importantly, this absolutely terrifying idea has become a powerful tool that helps scientists filter out bad theories and get closer to the ones that actually describe our reality. The Boltzmann brain is a perfect example of how even the strangest, most counterintuitive ideas can actually push science forward. They force us to question our deepest assumptions about the universe and our place in it. And it really makes you wonder, what else are we completely wrong about?